from second edition. The Quintessential Ranger and the Quintessential Necromancer, and those books were good. I like those.
And we all owned them. At least for your favorite class.
Yes.
Everybody owned their favorite classes.
I own the Wizard's Compendium, like the 4 volumes of Wizard spells.
I own my first ones I got was the Quintessential Ninja. Y'all know it. The Quintessential Ranger and the Quintessential Monk. I had those 3 books off the bat. Which, by the way, I had the Quintessential Cleric. Then when they put out one just for the Monk, I had the Quintessential Monk.
But did you have the Necromancer?
Yeah, of course I had the Necromancer.
I've got it in my garage.
I had it, but I first got the Ninja because it had all the key powers in martial arts. Then the Monk came out with more martial arts. I also had all the half-dragon stuff. I had oh my God, I had so much Planescape stuff. Ooh, I had a lot of Planescape stuff. I had so much Planescape stuff.
All right, well, let's actually get to the show.
Okay, sorry about that. I was going to.
Thanks once again. Very beginning of the show.
Oh, you went live already?
Yes, I told you I went live because it's 3:32.
What? I'm trying not to curse because now the desire. It only makes it worse. Now you're just like, don't say bleep. Don't say bleep. Don't say bleep.
Don't say.
I mean, it's just that first 5 minutes, man. If you just keep it from that first 5 minutes.
You just need to mute my mic for the first 5 minutes.
Apparently, I need to. All right.
They're just over here watching me go.
The only thing is you're so loud, you get picked up on my mic anyway.
But just let Bloodaxe have it for a while. He barely gets to talk. He barely gets a word in edgewise. Let him have 5 minutes of Bloodaxe time. And then we cut in and don't let him say anything else.
The only time I get that is if it's a topic you guys either A, don't know much about, or B, don't care.
Hey, we let you have Star Wars.
Star Wars Grounded, yeah, it's all me. But if it's anything else, I'd be like, is anybody in the chat? No. I like to chat with somebody. Oh, somebody's there. Let's talk about something random.
Hey, but watch out because we might let you be the one to cover Rurouni Kenshin then. We do the anime section. How about that? Tell us about Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah. I'll cover it and I'll say next topic. Okay, they're coming out with this game. Next topic. All right, let's talk about Henry Cavill.
It's not even a game.
There you go.
All right. Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Xenodamus. I'm here with
Q.
And on Skype,
we have the Bloodaxe.
All right, let's get started. First up, let's talk about Henry Cavill. I mean, you mentioned it there. We'll start off with him. He's been doubly in the news this week from him no longer being in Superman to start off with, and we'll jump to that right now. Apparently, the new bosses over there at DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran, have booted old Cavill from Superman. As a matter of fact, they're saying that they're going to pretty much boot all of the old regime and start over.
And they're going with a younger actor for the lead role. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. I got to take a moment to get my thoughts together here because, like, I can't visualize
Does that mean
it.
I mean, I'll be honest, dude. I think the only way to fix DC is to start over. So I don't really... I'm not 100% against this. Like, I love Henry Cavill and stuff. I think he fits the character so well. But at the same time, I do get what Gunn and them are doing with just doing a reboot. You get rid of the weird cultist dude. You get rid of, there's some bad blood in the DC universe as it is right now. So where I hate to see, and the way it happened is really bad because first, Henry Cavill gets to go, I'm back.
And Black Adam literally is on camera.
And, gets on camera with Black Adam. They let him tweet it out that his return, sort of hype it up. And then they turn around and immediately this new regime comes in and now you're out. And it's like everybody was hyped to hear he was back, or the majority of people that I talked to were hyped to hear he was back, for him to just turn around and get sort of cut loose. And I also see where that will piss a lot of people off. And if I was Henry Cavill, I wouldn't be happy,
He was a class act about it. But
he was.
Bloodaxe, what you got on this? Because what I'm going to say is so weird. I got to let the sane people talk first, because my head's going strange places here.
All right, man.
Well, I think Henry Cavill specifically, as an actor, I think his heart's usually in the right place. And we've seen that with The Witcher, and him going back to Superman, which, he did a, fantastic job as Superman, I thought was a good fit. But I do think it's unfortunate that, they're going to reset the cast of quality actors who get the part, play the part well, because you've kind of fouled up a lot of your universe. I mean, we've got like 3 or 4 Batmans right now, which is ridiculous. And I wouldn't mind recasting Batman. I've always told you my favorite version of Batman would be David Boreanaz, if we can get him away from the SEAL team and then into the Batman role. But I do think that this instance actually will open up some other opportunities, which we'll talk about probably next. Which, if Henry Cavill sticks to his guns, may be a better opportunity for the hardcore sci-fi geeks, not necessarily the audience as a whole, because a lot of people aren't going to even know the next topic that we're talking about. But as a novice of that universe, I'm stoked for. So, yeah, it kind of sucks, but like I said, it may open up a door that we may get an even better representation of something that we've all enjoyed, but we've never really seen brought to life on the big screen.
Well, okay. The reason I had to take a sec, well said, Bloodaxe, is because when I hear the word they want to get a younger actor, I cannot help but the tinfoil hat pops out and cues, wild speculations go in of that translates in my ears from season of for a modern audience. That's I know. I said it's tinfoil hat. No, you can't dump me down when I've already pointed out
I know.
But it just made me hear younger Superman, maybe diverse Superman, maybe more alternatives. Like immediately all these fears jumped into my head of seeing, because you know what they did with his son? No, you know what they did with his son?
I know.
That failed comic book series that died. And I'm like, are they just going to go that direction but use the main Superman to do that?
Comic book series either.
They're already trying to reboot it. They already had to, they're rebooting it. They're already redoing it. I'm worried that James Gunn wants to be really different with it. And
here's my thing, and this is my counter for your doom and gloom. All right, James Gunn is coming from Marvel. All right, Marvel, I would say, made the mistake of casting several of their characters too old, because it didn't allow them to run as long as they could have. All right. With taking characters and trying to get younger actors into the roles, you get to have that longevity, and you can build a better universe without having to constantly replace your actors because they move out of the field, So grabbing younger actors, also it comes down to money. The Warner Brothers is trying to make money, and expensive actors tend to be your more seasoned, older actors. You can get younger actors. You can usually get cheaper actors.
But that's the problem. They're not experienced. So we're also looking at potentially, like, I can't think of anybody. I can't even imagine who he wants to cast at all. And that's why I'm like,
maybe you pull some new blood in, man.
If
you have a good director and producer, you can pull in new blood and you can make it look good on screen. I mean, dude, they made what's her name?
That says a lot. They made remember that what's her name?
That trash of a woman that accused Johnny Depp of things.
Amber Heard.
They made her.
I'm sorry, I think we got to call her AH.
They made her look okay on screen. If you go back and they showed some of the footage before it was,
there was no chemistry.
It was horrible, dude. So I mean, you could do a lot even with a bad actor.
I like to say they can Frankenstein this into this. Okay, but okay. But I'll counterpoint with this though. Why don't they do this though? I'm just saying. If you want to have younger, where's Virgil Hawkins, man? Do Static Shock. He's already a minority. It's a younger character. You could start a whole new thing. Why don't you just let Superman be old? Stop rebooting Superman and Batman. I'm saying maybe it's time for something new.
I could understand that direction. That would be fine.
Something new.
But that whole universe is so messed up right now. Do you want to bring a character like that?
Not even this one. No, over here. Over here, Virgil Hawkins, Static Shock, teenagers dealing with modern day problems, modern issues, younger characters. Instead of making Superman, instead of doing X-Men Evolution version of Superman, well, now he's a teenager who's got to deal with high school prom and that school bully Lex Luthor.
I don't think you go that young. Younger doesn't mean teenager, man. Henry Cavill ain't that young anymore.
I don't think. All right. No. It's time for our thing. I say they're going to go all the way to teen.
No.
All right.
No.
Y'all watch. He says, I'm saying it, or college. Give me up to college age. But 20. I'll say 20, 21. I do not believe this will be like a has-a-job, full adult actor. I think when they say younger, they mean to go where he's at least playing. Where he's at least playing.
Henry Cavill is our age, man, almost. He's 2 years younger than me.
Yeah, I'm well older than him. I'm 44.
And I got
we're like our age.
He's closer to my age.
Yeah, but Superman's also not young either. But I don't think you're thinking that they're probably going to grab somebody and he plays a character, because also they may grab an actor that isn't a teenager. But I think that he's going to be playing a very young or adult Superman. College to high school to college age is what they're going to play it. Now, they may grab a 25-year-old actor.
I mean, college age isn't necessarily that bad. They're playing college age. I'm saying they're not going to do a teenager. I'm going to say at least a 20-year-old Superman.
Okay, I agree that they might go to 20.
They might speed through the of course the origin story, but when they really come down to Superman and start, slowing down the time progression, I'm thinking they stop at a 20-year-old Superman.
20, I'll go. No, I'm saying I see 20, but I don't see like him even playing 25 or 26-year-old Superman. I see him playing like 18, 19, 20.
Young reporter.
Maybe on the side. I think they're trying to do a Peter Parker style thing. They're going for a really younger version of Superman.
I don't think so. I think
not the high school.
I think you're going way out.
I'm talking about college Peter. But no, I know that's my theory. But more importantly, what I am 100% confident on is they're definitely going to.
It took the third movie of Peter to get to college. I mean, he ain't even in college yet. He applied for college.
No, I'm not talking about Homecoming Peter. I'm talking about like the first one, McGuire.
Okay.
I'm talking about 2021.
Yeah, no, I can see McGuire.
And I think they're going to do that with Superman. They're going to go young adult. But that's what and honestly, I just hope they don't go teen. I mean, I'm hoping I'm wrong. Like, that'd be terrible. But just also James Gunn, and he does goofy shit. It's been 5 minutes, right? Yeah, he does goofy crap. He does. He does.
I just checked. We're already on limited availability as far as revenue goes. I requested a review, so we've done something already. So.
Yeah, I can guarantee it. I mean, for one, we mentioned She Who Could Not Be Named.
Yeah, like I said, we dropped the name.
We said F-bomb in the first 5 minutes.
I believe it's the name more than anything.
You know what? I said fouled. I checked myself.
Anyway, So,
And it was you. I didn't say the name. What I did? You tricked me into it. You couldn't see. You couldn't remember her name. You bastard. You did. You're like her. You know the one. It's like
see, it's all your fault.
And you said his name though. You said JD. You said JD's real name.
JD.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
I did say his. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so here we go. Henry Cavill out as Superman, but we've got Warhammer 40K. Now, here's the problem with this, and I'm immediate problem I see. It's a series for Amazon, and Amazon really hadn't been doing that great.
I forgot about that. Oh no, Amazon's. Oh, they ruined so much.
Yeah.
Oh, they've been terrible. They blow billions of dollars on trash fires. Well, wait a minute. At least they might give them billions of dollars. The effects might be nice. Well, no, the effects weren't that good.
What you got, Blood?
This topic was actually suggested by one of our viewers, Hartzman. I've been playing games with him for years, and he, like Q, is a expert when it comes to Warhammer 40K. I'm a novice. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't know all the lore and the different space mummies and all the different things that are out there.
They're called the Necrons.
Thank you. But so going back to our first segment, I think if Henry Cavill sticks to his guns, and he's allegedly, a fan of 40K, him wanting the roles to stick with the content of the established universe, we should get a good series. Now, the actors that were in Lord of the Rings, they weren't really fans of the lore. They didn't read the books, and so they didn't even have the knowledge to say, hey, this isn't how Tolkien wrote these characters. I don't know about the Wheel of Time, but we have also seen the Wheel of Time not follow the source material. So hopefully, fingers crossed, his knowledge of it will help with the development of the series in a way that is more accurate with the source material, because I didn't play the tabletop games like Q did, but we've played several of the video games, and I've just fallen in love with the Space Marines. I've had an absolute blast playing as a Inquisitor. So if they cast him in a role similar to that, and he already has the body size to be an ominous looking Inquisitor, that would be hardcore, and that's something that I would be willing to watch. Because you're right, a lot of the content on Amazon is trash. I've only seen a couple of series that we've enjoyed. I'm just now started watching The Boys, which can't really watch with my kids, but it's an interesting show. I think it, and I've never read the comics, but I think it's a well done show. But this is something that would catch my attention if it is done correctly. Same thing said about Lord of the Rings. They didn't do it correctly, so I lost attention really fast.
Yeah, but, and I actually remember Henry Cavill speaking on a talk show a few years back. It was one of these British talk shows. I forget the guy's name now, but he actually talked about how much he played. It was during the whole plague time. I'm trying not to.
I think calling it a plague failed still. The Coof.
The Coof, there you go.
The Coof.
During the Coof, he was on this show, and they asked him what he was doing while so many things were down. And he's like, well, I have small groups of friends get together, and we play this table game. And he explained Warhammer to this very confused talk show host. And so yeah, he definitely is a fan. So I don't think there's a question there that he's a Warhammer fan. So let's hopefully, yeah, with him being a fan, and he has been known to stick to his guns. I mean, one of the issues he had with The Witcher was because he stuck to his guns. So if somebody hired him for something like Warhammer, knowing he's a fan of it and knowing his attitude, towards things he's a fan of, they should know that he will say something if they start getting off script too much.
Yes. And that's why I say the biggest fear I have is that I've talked with some real aficionados. So despite what Bloodaxe said, I do appreciate your confidence in me with how extensive and contradictory,
The
apparently,
Graham
from what I've
Norton
heard.
show. That was the talk show. Graham Norton show.
And how complex the history is. I would be considered to be middle of the road on knowledge, but I talked to some read all the novels friends last night. These are the guys who can quote you all the novels and everything as well, and they have a general opinion of he can't mess up the canon because White Dwarf, is a Dwarf Game Shop, whatever the name is of the company, they screw it up so much themselves that they said, well, he can't mess it up because they're all over the place.
Games
but
Workshop.
For the real fans out there, the big hope that they were saying is they're hoping he's going to do what's called the Horus Heresy, which is a slightly better time in its own way in the history of the Space Marines. Because the Space Marines as they are now are kind of, they're not really the good guys. You know what I mean? But during the Horus Heresy, that's kind of the height, the golden era. So a lot of the people I've talked to are hoping he's going to cover the Horus Heresy. I'm hoping that too, because the biggest fear I have is that this is hardcore sci-fi. Hardcore, over-the-top sci-fi. So it's not going to be cheap to do right. It's not going to be cheap at all. We're talking about probably a lot of costumes and sets and expensive special effects, and that's where my fear comes in, because if this is going to be live action, it's not going to be cheap, and that's why I'm like, ooh, this is not going to be cheap, especially when you introduce the alien races. Let me finish this real quick, because the alien races don't look even slightly human. You know that from what you've played. So, there's no way to do, orcs as painted people unless you're trying not to look anything like orcs. And the Eldar's armors are elaborate effects. And there's mechs and all that. So, that's my fear is, will Amazon give him the money he needs to make it look right? And will it make the money back with Warhammer 40K not being the most well-known sci-fi franchise? All right, go ahead.
Well, the thing about a Warhammer series, I think, will be a good candidate to be shot in the volume, similar to the way that the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett was shot. They wasn't shot on site; it was actually shot in a big dome, and that helped a lot with the cost of the CGI. But you're right when it comes to the Chaos Spawn or the Tyranids. Those effects are not going to be cheap. And one of the things that kind of always attracted me to the Space Marines is the ornate armor, the religious aspects, the way that it's more of a zealot suit than anything else. But it can be interesting, but it can also be expensive. But we've already seen them drop $1 billion on the Rings of Power. I'm not sure that costs that much from Games Workshop to acquire the series rights, the film rights for Warhammer. But, I mean, they've put money into The Boys and into The Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings. So they're willing to shell out the money. I don't actually remember seeing a Amazon original series where they skimped out on the special effects the way that Disney has, especially with She-Hulk. I mean, some of those effects were trash fires.
They were very bad.
I don't think that that's going to be a major issue, but it's the writing that I'm concerned with personally. If they get the writing correct, which they haven't been able to do successfully so far, but if they do, then yeah, it's something that I will definitely watch and maybe even watch multiple times. But you got to think about it. Think about Amazon Prime. Most people get it just for the delivery fees. They don't normally subscribe for the television. I even forget they have TV shows. I'll watch it like twice a year. But this would be something that may bring me more into watching Amazon if they can create and continue to create good content.
All right. Yeah, I mean, let's we'll hope. We'll see We'll see what happens. Like I said, with Henry Cavill being a fan, I played some of the Graham Norton comments behind you while you were talking, and where he said, he paints the miniatures, all that stuff. So I mean, he's big into it, and about how he likes to make sure things are true to the source material. With those two things and him being involved, maybe this won't be an Amazon flop.
We can see.
All right, let's.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, the last thing is, and the worst thing that Amazon did with the Rings of Power is fire the Tolkien expert, because it didn't match with what they wanted to do. So hopefully Henry Cavill won't be put into a Mark Hamill situation where Mark Hamill told Ryan Johnson, "This isn't Luke Skywalker," and he said, "Shut up and read the lines." So as long as he's not hamstrung the way that Mark Hamill was with the content, then then it's something that I will continue to watch the development of, and as we update, I'll hopefully be able to form a better opinion on what we feel is going to be coming with this series.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, let's move on to anime, and yeah, Yay. Bloodaxe puts on the headphones, zones out.
It won't be long.
Play Mario Kart on.
like with what we got later to talk about, which will probably take almost 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we got a big one coming, boys.
First up, just some quick anime announcements. We saw a new teaser for the Rurouni Kenshin anime remake. I will say now, I watched the teaser. I don't know if this animation is actually from the remake or if they spliced some stuff between the OVAs and the original anime, because it
looked just like it. Like I like the first part looks like the OVA, the second part looks like the anime. None of it looked new. So if this is a teaser, then this is a waste of time reboot, because they didn't really do anything. It's
like out. Here, this looks very familiar from with the OVAs that were a little darker, grittier, bloodier.
Good.
But then you
Samurai X. They were often called Samurai X.
Yeah. And then here you come, and once again, completely the drawing of the face is more like the anime now.
And I'm not saying the graphics aren't slightly improved, but not to the point that I feel like this reboot's necessary.
So I am curious if maybe this came from somewhere else and this isn't, because I mean that looks like the anime. I mean the original.
This looks more like a remaster,
but it just looks
remastered. We called it a remaster. We said it looks more like a remaster than a reboot.
Or remake. Yeah.
Unless they're gonna remake. Well, there you go. Maybe it is just a remake. Maybe it's not a reboot. No, but then it says reboot.
Yeah, a remake and a reboot is practically the same thing, I think. Well, a remake is usually more closer to the original storyline, where a reboot,
they can change the whole story.
Yeah, they can change the whole story.
You think they're going to do something weird with the story?
And here though they seem to be using the words interchangeable, because up here in the title it says remake. Down here in the release, it says reboot.
Oh, well, I'm done. That already, they can't even get it right. Then I'm already like, I'm out. Like that, they've already lost me in that. If they can't even decide what they're doing, that just really makes me go like, nah.
Can I ask a
here's the thing. Let's go to the actual YouTube and see.
I can't read Japanese.
That it's not in English. All right. Where's
Can I ask
translator?
Go ahead, Bloodaxe, while he's doing that.
Yeah, while he's doing that. Being an anime, I don't even know what level of anime. I'm like 0 or even negative. Are remakes common with anime?
No.
Okay. Because
normally they're classics, and you don't see that. Though lately they've been starting. Yeah. But I mean, compared to when they came out, this is kind of a new thing. You went back and you watched the original Ninja Scroll, the original Akira, the original animes. What is it? Evangelion. Even though they did reboot that themselves eventually, but like it was rare.
That's So you haven't watched Ninja Scroll. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. But I'm just trying to think. Is there any television series or movie or anything that I would like a remake of. And you're going back to your classic point. No, I mean, it's classic for a reason. Now, we've seen Voltron rebooted, we've seen other things rebooted, and they change the story, and we watch it, and a lot of times it doesn't even come close to the original that we actually enjoyed to begin with. I'm just trying to think of a reason why you would remake something and not just enjoy the original as a fan of that show.
Or maybe make an actual sequel. Why do you like? To me,
Dude,
there was room for more stories. There's a young character in this trailer who I would be interested in seeing what he was like when he grew up. He had a lot of character growth in the original story and trained with Kenshin. You know, the kid. Why don't you do a series and let's follow the kid?
From what I can get from translator, it doesn't say either remake or reboot. So
it's probably going to be a reboot. That would be because again, I don't see a point for a remake. What it can do, slap a coat of polish and update the animation?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
So I'm like, yeah, they could just like, let's. I mean, hey. Because then you could go back and enjoy the original, see the background of this character. So let's say somebody watched the new one and it's about the kid. And I forgot his name. I'm getting old. But like, there he is. Not out here. Like, he'll pop up in a sec. They show the kid in one
talking
scene.
about the little kid.
Yeah. Show his story. And then if people like it enough, they might go back and watch the original. Be like, oh, why did he get here? Oh, man, this is cool. You don't have to keep just telling the same dang story over and over. It's like what we said about Superman. You're saying, well, the actor's too old. I'm like, well, then let's get a new character or grab one of the young.
The translation just says a new anime project starts.
So let's move on. Like, we don't even know. Plus, I'm also like, the graphics didn't wow me. I don't think this is worth my time watching again. I'll watch the original. I mean,
that's the kid you're talking about.
And at least it doesn't look as terrible as like what they're doing to Vash the Stampede.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't look nearly as bad as that. Trigun.
Okay, this is their character release, so it definitely has the softer face that the anime had versus the more stronger face.
I wish they did the whole series in the OVA style. Just,
yeah.
Like, make the whole thing darker because, man, the OVAs did not play. You would have liked the OVAs, Bloodaxe, because they were no joke. We're talking about one of the OVAs starts off with a dude chopping a guy into mincemeat. Yeah. He won't even tell him his name.
And they are playing more on the romantic story.
Oh, okay, I'm done. All right. So, anyway, there's another... Yeah, let's just move on. All
right, so the other anime announcement that we were looking at is the new Blue Exorcist anime announcement.
Season 3.
And that is a Season 3 announcement. Not that they're remaking or rebooting or anything like that. A third season has officially been announced. So
Kyoto Saga.
If you're a Blue Exorcist fan or you enjoyed the anime, which I did, it is getting a third season. So
yeah, and the good news is it's not being called a romance.
yeah. Well, I mean, look,
there's
dude,
elements in it. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of the samurai stuff though are considered romance that are bloody and violent, and because if you watch you watch the stuff, they're romantic tales a lot of times when it comes to samurai stuff. Is not anything.
Look at each other's eyes, standing on a pile of corpses.
Yeah. So romance doesn't necessarily throw, but anyway, yeah. Blue Exorcist anime announced. Thought that was cool
because when Blue Exorcist went darker, it was really good when it had its darker episodes, man. And it had some darker episodes. I hope they keep that theme.
And along with animation, we will move over to
something a little less depressing about D&D.
I don't know if it's less depressing or not, but 40 years after being canceled, the D&D cartoon will return as a comic. So you comic book fans who are also D&D fans and wanted maybe a final conclusion to this, maybe we can get a conclusion. That isn't like fan made or made by a car dealership.
Yeah, but remember, I want to know what Bloodaxe is going to say because the first thing he said when he heard this was messed up, but it's also what I said.
Now my thing is with where Wizards of the Coast is currently.
Let him go, man. Let him go.
Wizards of the Coast. All right. So we've been covering a lot of the questionable decisions of Wizards of the Coast.
We got
And
one
I
coming
really,
up later.
yeah, and I really think that those choices are affecting what we're going to be talking about in a little bit, because now they're kind of seeing some of the financial limitations of those choices. So yeah, no, I've got thoughts on that once we get to that topic.
Hey, maybe if you pay enough, you can have a rainbow unicorn thingy as a mount in your D&D game.
I want.
So
the
before
I
we
want-
just, so we're not going to be able to stop ourselves from going there. So I'll just go ahead and jump in. Me and Bloodaxe both were worried if they're going to update the story for a quote modern audience. That's what our fears were. To get that out.
I want the binacorn that shits rainbows. That's what I want.
Let's not get into Wonderlands, okay? We've all been traumatized. You've got to move past it, or you'll never be able to live your life. But you're not wrong. So, I mean, the thing is I'm worried about, too, is I said, are comics doing well right now? Like, I don't know if that's the best place to do it, because comics seem to be struggling in general. And this is not, dude, most people, 40 years ago, the only people who know of this, I mean, you're almost too young to remember this. Like, this is me and his age group. You had to watch it as a rerun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're the only ones that saw it on, like, Saturday morning.
I watched it every Saturday morning for the 2 seasons it was out. I own the DVDs. I've watched the DVDs with my kids, and it's one of the reasons why I normally play Rangers in D&D, is because I fell in love with Hank. I mean, it was one of those things that I always wanted a bow that had energy arrows.
Yeah.
That was always the thing I've always wanted, and I never found one.
Yeah, you did. We gave you a Brilliant Energy bow once.
When?
3.0, you got a Brilliant Energy bow. It fired the arrows that go through armor. It ignores AC because it's Brilliant Energy.
I mean, 3.0 even has the crafting rules for it, or 3.5 has the crafting rules for it, where you can even craft them.
How dare you say we never gave it to you? You didn't last long, but I mean, you got it for a while. Because I think Flynn was running, so you didn't last long, but you had it.
Flynn never PK'd me. Ever it did. But
I didn't say no. I didn't say no. I said Flynn was running it. Flynn doesn't PK. He DMs party wipes.
He never party wiped. No, I've never died in his game.
Oh, I don't know what you did with the bow. It's your fault.
No, I died in someone else's game, but not in his.
But I'm with you on that. Well, that's my concern, though, is that the problem is Hank is unfortunately a cisgendered white male, so he's not going to probably be the party leader. I'm just going to say it. He's probably not going to be the party leader, or they're going to change one of those things about him. So, because that's just the way Wizards of the Coast runs now. You can't have that. And I don't care, because honestly, I mean, I just enjoyed the show, and my favorite character was actually the kid with the club, because I thought the club was badass. I was like, oh my God, it makes earthquakes.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, Earthquake Club. It doesn't get much better than Earthquake Club. I love Earth powers. I've always felt they're underrated. Like, even with Captain Planet, I thought the Ring of Earth was the most broken ring. You know, I thought people way underestimated that ring. But, plus also I was a kid, so obviously I associated with the kid character, because guess what? I didn't care he was white. I just saw him as another kid. I was like, oh, look, it's a kid like me. What a concept. I wasn't worried about his race.
But the original group was already diverse as it was, and you had your goofy white men, and even, I mean, right down to Eric and Pesto. I mean, they were hilarious, and they kind of were the joke characters in the cartoon. But no, it'll probably be Sheila or Diana as the new party leader, and then you'll have Hank be some kind of, you know, slobbering back character that every now and then shoots an arrow
and misses,
and exactly, and misses. He'll be a future stormtrooper is what's going to happen. But I'm not interested in a comic book. I would be interested in a new cartoon. You remember we covered that commercial a couple of years ago for that car? The can't remember, was it Nissan or one of the car manufacturers?
Yeah, it was a Brazilian car commercial for the
that was so good.
Renault's Quid Outsider.
Doing something like that, man, I would watch that in a heartbeat. Yeah, because just from the nostalgia factor, but it was really well done. I don't
Yeah.
want a comic
I
book.
remember this. Baldur's Gate offered a possibility. If you examine the back wall of the Adventurers Mart, you'll find a painting of 2 characters from the show, and examining them rewards you with an explanation that concludes, "Word has it they died horribly at the hand of the dragon Tiamat."
But that's what the article starts with. Oh, I guess they weren't eaten by a dragon
Yeah.
because, like, apparently it was just decided they had died, which is funny.
Yeah, no.
Oh, but anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna make any guesses at what they'll do, but I don't have any hopes that it will be nice or good. I mean, it's just. I mean, even this says Sam Maggs, one of the comics writers, says as a lifelong D&D fan, it is an absolute dream to get to work reviving a childhood classic, and that he's working with IDW and the fine folks at Wizards of the Coast. So that just completely, and Bloodaxe has heard something that has hurt. So what is it, Bloodaxe?
No, the name. I'm very familiar with the writer Sam Maggs. Sam Maggs was the fight the patriarchy person.
Wait, what?
Who was writing for the new Star Wars KOTOR game. So no, I'm very familiar with Sam Maggs, and if she's the writer for this, I'm already checked out because she is hardcore anti-male.
Fangirl's Guide to the Galaxy and Marvel action Captain Marvel.
Oh, no, I think I remember her popping up. She's terrible. Some of the things she said, she's going to kill all the dudes. There's no way. Oh, God, no, they're dead meat.
So much backlash. There was so much backlash from the Star Wars fan community that she's no longer on the KOTOR project. She's no longer writing anything.
Yeah, she was the chick that got kicked off of the KOTOR project. Like, she is going, oh, those poor bastards.
Oh, she's known for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Oh, that explains everything. Oh.
I think, oh, my God. Yeah, no, if she's involved with it, then I don't care.
Yeah, she's one of the writers.
Poor Hank. Oh, God, what's she going to do to Hank? Oh, now I'm scared for Hank. Everybody. Oh, he's a cisgendered white male with blonde hair. He is dead.
Oh, she was a reoccurring writer for, Star Wars Adventures.
Oh.
He will not be a cisgender white male anymore. I'll tell you what it's going to be on the Patreon side of things, but I don't want to say it on YouTube.
Yeah, let's just drop this, man.
Yeah, that's so. That hurt my heart. Oh, my God, that poor.
All right, yeah. See, I was right to not trust Wizards of the Coast.
No, let's give him a moment. As much as we thought, you were way more right. Oh, my God, Sam Maggs. I'd rather they had, I can't think of Kathleen Kennedy writing it, because Sam Maggs is actually worse. Kathleen Kennedy would have just made Shelley or Diane, like the leader, but Sam Maggs is going to F those dudes over. They're going to be crying and peeing on themselves. Like, they're all going to be cowards. They're probably just going to die. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be terrible. He ought to just take that bow and just do the, like right through the glowing arrow.
Oh, well, speaking of the woes of D&D and Wizards of the Coast, let's move on to our last topic, which is D&D CEO thinks hobby is under monetized compared to video games. So monetization in D&D tabletop. In an investor meeting, Wizards of the Coast CEO expresses a desire for the type of recurrent spending you see in digital games.
Because D&D's not expensive enough. You're not spending enough money. They want you to be constant. By the way, how little do you know about... I'm about to stop Bloodaxe. I just got to say this. How little do you know about video games that you don't know that monetization's a bad word? That shows that this dude is ignorant of the video game community. He might as well have said we need loot boxes. Like, he's quoting the worst words because any gamer is immediately going to freak out when they hear monetization.
Well, my thing is they already have monetization in D&D. You have the, multiple transactions throughout the year on books. I mean, you're spending $30 to $50 a book. And they were releasing
30.
They're releasing or more. They're releasing 3 or 4 books a year. So you're spending like $200 or more a year as it is. On top of that, they have the
Character sheet portfolios.
Yeah, the character sheet portfolios, dice. If you want to get you can get Wizards of the Coast dice if you want. Most people don't use those crappy things.
Miniatures, dice towels.
You have miniatures. Yeah, you now you even have even land the mats and all that stuff for the then you have campaign modules. You have their online store, which has small modules and campaigns you can buy, which they get, even though that's somebody else's work and not theirs. If you sell through their store, they're going to get a cut of that. Then we have D&D Beyond, which is for their online character creation, which I think is a monthly subscription. So where are they not monetized? What more monetization do they want to do?
Staying up to date in D&D, you are buying several books a year.
Yeah.
Several books a year. And they're not cheap. Like I said, they used to be, there were $19 books, but now I just looked at some gaming books, and it's like, it's rare to not spend $40 or more a book. So, but what they were saying, what they're trying to say is, well, that's the DM. We want the players to have to spend more as well. And I'm like,
the players do too. I mean, heaven forbid you play a summoner, a druid, or a cleric, or a wizard, and have to get the bloody monsters manual just to know what creatures you're summoning.
You get the spell cards. A lot of people pick up the spell cards.
And miniatures for all your summons, because I'm a summoner player.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and each miniature's what, $8-9? And heaven forbid you have one for your character, one for your summons. I mean, we had a convention last weekend, and a DM went and spent $300 on miniatures for just one night. So, no, monetization, they're full of monetization. Because I have 5 books in my backpack, and each one was $50 each. So, yeah, no, most games that we pay for as gamers from a video game perspective is between $40 and $60 for a AAA game. Yes, they bumped it up to about $70 for 2023. But to give you an idea, we may buy 1 or 2 games a year. We're buying 2 or 3 books a year, which is well more than what I'm paying on video games.
And he's looking at it, dude. And like the ones that are on sale are $49. Everything that's non-sales price, because it's Christmas.
$49.95 is the MSRP. Average.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, I've got 5 of them in my book bag right now, and I'm still looking at a couple ones that I'm missing. And heaven forbid you get the campaign setting books between Ravenloft, and they had an Eberron book to come out. They just released Dragonlance. So if you want setting books and you want your character to be in that setting, yes, the DM will need one, and all the other players will need one, or at least try to find a couple to share amongst each other. So no, they're full of shit.
It's like $200 to start minimum to have a campaign book, the guide, the monster's guide, and the player's book. It's a $200 buy-in. Each player usually eventually buys their own player's handbook, which is another $50. If you were to sit down at a table and have everybody say how much, and like show their books, we're talking about a $600-700 game when you add everybody at the table. And they're constantly updating the editions and coming out with more books that have the latest rules to make you have to. Like, I think you were saying they already were looking at talking about 6th edition. So, no, there's a buy-in. There's a buy-in, and there's a steady cost to stay up to date. If people aren't still spending money, it's because you're not putting out quality content, so they're not buying the extra books. They're just homebrewing everything because you're not doing a good job.
Going back to what we were talking about just a couple minutes ago with the questionable decisions they've done to alienate the hardcore tabletop players and taking away some of the things that make our characters interesting, because these are fantasy settings. These are fantasy characters, fantasy NPCs. You don't have to be politically correct. They're not a representation of us as people. It's a fucking fantasy setting. God damn it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Now, I mean,
and it pissed me off.
Here's their D&D Beyond, which has a subscription plan. You can start. They do have a free one that has a lot of limitations, and they have one for $2.99, and then they have one for $5.99 if you want to share content with other players. So I mean, That's have a subscription plan already. They have monetization already. Been there for years. Used to be D&D Magazine. Then there was D&D Insider.
Back in the day they had the Dungeon and the Dragon magazine, two separate magazines. It had to be that we all had. Bloodaxe knows I have under my house. You remember I have like years of them. You had under my cabinet.
But you had D&D Insider, which was their online thing that later came out. Mm-hmm. And now it got replaced by D&D Beyond. So they've always had subscription models. So if you're telling me you need more monetization than multiple books a year, and
well, here's what's scarier. Let's get this out. The target, we got to emphasize what they're talking about. They're not saying the DMs aren't spending enough. They're aiming at the players who usually don't do that because they don't have the money. Let's be honest. The DM's also usually the person who can afford to buy the books.
Yeah.
And his players are usually casuals. How do you monetize the players? There's only one way. What did I tell you was the only way? There's only one way you can monetize the players. What was it? Pay to win. It's the only way. What could you sell me as a casual player that's worth my money if I don't care about owning the stories?
I really
and stuff?
don't know.
You have to sell me, like he said, a special amount.
I mean, pay to win. Yeah, pay to win seems hard to do with this. I can't wrap my head around how they're planning to monetize. I mean, other than they just quit selling physical books and make you subscribe to have the books.
My only guess is that they put out books that you can't play it if you don't own it. You want to play this class, you got to buy the portfolio to play the class.
But, I mean, you could just ignore that, though, as my thing.
I know, so I don't know how they plan to monetize it either.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only way they could do it is stop making physical media and put everything on like Roll20 or some kind of Wizards of the Coast site, and everything's electronic.
Which, of course, will be a massive failure.
That would be the only way I could think they could limit it in that fashion. But then you're going to alienate the people that want to be around the table with their friends playing tabletop games with miniatures.
Don't forget part two. People are going to jailbreak it, man. They're going to hack it. They're going to hack it the second they do that, too. They're going to, they're going to get pissed off and go take everything.
Either that or we'll just go back and play 3.5. Or we'll play 5th edition or Pathfinder.
Or 13th Age.
We're not going to keep doing this stupid bullshit because it's not how we want to play. We want to have fun with our friends. We want to have that physical book, papers, dice, and miniatures. I hate playing games where you have to imagine what the battlefield looks like and where your character is and ask the DM, how close am I? I want to move my miniature. I want to figure out the range. I want to be able to do all those fun things because that's enjoyable. That really kind of immerses yourself into that experience and into that fight. But online, no. I mean, I would try a Roll20, but it's not something that I probably would invest a lot of my I wouldn't invest myself mentally into because I can't get into the character that way.
Yeah, maybe they're wanting to do. I mean, that's an additional thing they could possibly do. I guess is something like Roll20. I mean, I use Roll20. I had a subscription. Anytime I start playing for a while, I get a subscription to Roll20. You know, so I mean, Roll20 isn't Wizards of the Coast. That's separate.
They would have to make their own version of Roll20 Wizards of the Coast centric.
Which, I guess they could tie into their D&D Beyond and just charge another premium for it.
But if
you want to play Warforged, you have to pay $5 for the Warforged kit so that you can make a Warforged character. Now I want to play a Changeling. Well, there's another $5. Oh, and now they have new subclasses for Rangers, and I want to play. Exactly, and then you get the Feral template. It's $20 because it's broken as hell. Okay, here's $20 for the Feral template.
3.5 was broken. Plus one template. It was stupid.
That was the dumbest template I've ever seen, and I saw somebody play it once, and they're on our show with us, and I banned the template after that.
Yeah,
I had pouts.
Anyway,
I banned that.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't know how they're going to do it, and I don't really want to know because I don't really give a fuck about Wizards of the Coast anymore.
Oh, no,
and this is just one more reason not to give a shit about them. And I'm going to start looking at other options, such as 13th Age, which we're looking at.
We're currently looking at it because some sites, because this, by the way, we're not just pumping up 13th Age. We haven't even played it yet. It's that literal topics started popping up almost immediately after this. So people going, so what do I play instead of 5e? And when I did a search of what to play instead of 5e, 13th Age popped up and all these like discussions of people going, let's go play 13th Age, like instead of 5e. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll take a look at it. Just because we already were boycotting it, but with the idea that now it's going to try to bleed. Worst of all, the players. I feel bad because most of my players, being that I am the older guy, they can't afford more modernization. They usually have to save up to buy the player's handbook because I'm usually playing with people. They're like 20 or something, the new players, and I'm bringing in new players. They're younger. They don't have this money. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I absorb the cost. It's my hobby. But demanding the players or trying to find a way to cinch them out of extra money is going to make it harder to find players. You're going to be like, hey, you want to play D&D? Sure. It's going to cost you a bit. What? Yeah, there's this new thing. You're going to need to go over here. If you want to have more than 3 classes, you're going to have to buy the extended class pack, or else when you give me it won't let you pick
like
that
I said,
class.
I don't know how they enforce that, though. That's
if they make it all like Roll20,
well,
then
I mean,
they can make it so that your character can't be built.
Well, and
that's
the thing I've said, he said, we've all said now is if the only way is to quit selling physical books and just do online only, and then you can start monetizing this shit. And I mean,
which
at that point,
the whole concept of tabletop.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
it's not even tabletop anymore.
That would work for us because of the distance. But do we prefer to play online? No. I prefer to go up to Jackson, hang out with you guys, and play tabletop up there. We've been talking about trying to get a Friday game group together again, but the whole Skype thing it makes it challenging. But it is something that we've considered. Whether it be a homebrew campaign or if we find something new that we like, I'm willing to give it a shot. I have no problem with that.
I mean, to me, if you're gonna do online with D&D or tabletop, it's best if either everybody's online or everybody's in your living room. Having some people in your living room and 1 or 2 people online is really hard to keep up with. But with everybody online, you can use something like Roll20, which helps keep that continuity and group together.
And it even if a couple people are in one person's living room and I'm remote and Jarek may be remote because of tire rotations or whatever, that would be something that we could do. And even if 75% is together and 25% is online, if everyone's online, then we could do it that way.
Look at William Coleman in chat. He said he tried to do that and it was rough.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I was there for those. I remember some of those attempts of having 1 or 2 people online and the rest of us there.
Well, if we all in the same room, though, if everybody's on Roll20, the key part is everybody's got to be on Roll20 or something to make it work.
Everybody has a laptop, and so everyone signs into the campaign via the laptop, and it would make it easier. Hell, I even bought the whole Ravenloft map kit, which is like $50 for Roll20. Because I was going to run a Ravenloft campaign on Roll20, but everyone pushed back on it. They don't want to do it that way. They want to have it physically. So whatever. But yeah, I would be willing to do it if that's something that we all would want to do. But I don't want to be forced into doing that. That's where my problem is I don't have any other choice. And then I just won't play your game.
Oh, chat room. That is why I stopped looking at porn while I was on Roll20.
Well, that's why you just don't share your screen, man. Oh.
Okay, well, you know what, Bloodaxe? As a side project on top of playing Borderlands 2, yes, that's how bad Wonderlands is. Bloodaxe bought me the Borderlands 2 package for Christmas because that's how much Wonderland sucks. We'd rather go back past 3 to 2.
Oh, it's got the pre-sequel, it's got Borderlands 2, all the DLC content, and it's got Borderlands the Game of the Year edition. So he has all 3 games that
Yes.
we can.
And we're gonna jump on after this and go play some Bloodaxe 2. But as a side project, why don't we look? Let's look at 13th Age. But me and you, let's see if we can make a 13th Age Ravenloft since 5e didn't never really resurrected. That could be a fun little side project. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up.
That was Pathfinder First Edition. We had some good content for that.
Yeah, I think we did. But I want to check out this new system, and if we like it, we're going to swing back in and tell you to quit D&D as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely try it out. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check us out, Dicejunkies.com, where you can find links everywhere we are online, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And on our YouTube channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And as